everybody. It's Ike from Flipside Music, and I am here with
Dylan.
Yes, we are Dylan.
Dylan.
We are here with episode 26. Whew. All right. It feels like just yesterday.
It does actually.
All right. It's quick. It's a quick. Oh boy, we really need to maybe warm up, do a tester before we start.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we should do vocal.
Yeah. Start doing like the crunch thing. What you did it say?
I mean, we do all the prep with the camera to make sure that we're not catching crotchal regions.
Now descend, now right.
That's how we do it, because nobody wants to see your crotch.
Yeah.
Just telling other YouTubers.
No tinkle action.
Right. Yeah. I really appreciate you showing me how to play those licks. That's cool, but I don't want to look at your nuts.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Especially because it just frames.
It frames right in
like
there.
Right in, anybody that's looked at any pictures realizes your eyes drawn to
can't just
certain things.
Sideways,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
A little table. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
Loincloth. Something of
a kilt maybe or something.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
actually, wait, a long kilt. A long kilt.
Yeah, I was gonna say that could be a fatal attraction. What was the movie?
Oh yeah.
You know, she's like,
yeah.
Let me show you how to play this. Let me show you how to play at the beginning of Cashmere. Well, welcome to the program, folks.
Quality entertainment.
Absolutely. All right. Well, first question is from Cullen James. He said,
really gets to the heart of things.
What's that?
So this really gets to the heart of things.
All
really
right.
important life questions.
There are some important ones, and I think this one does qualify. And I usually don't read this because, obviously, like Dylan said last week, we had a Ron Burgundy. Read right through it and realized after, I shouldn't have. But, all right, so Cullen James says, okay, guys, I asked Ryan this question. That is Ryan over at RNA Music in Canton, Texas, deep in the heart of Texas.
Deep in the heart
The mom and pop lesson studio and guitar shop.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, there you go. That was a good pitch, actually.
It wasn't so bad. Well, he always promotes us. So,
yeah.
If you guys are watching this, check out Ryan at RNA Music, Canton, Texas. All right, so he asked Ryan this question, and I think it's worth getting some more opinions. What's your favorite kind of barbecue meat? That's funny. When you go to a new barbecue joint, what do you order to judge if they have good Q? So what do you order to see if they have good barbecue?
Well, for me, if they can nail the brisket, they're for real. Because the pulled pork is the easy one. That's like the safe bet. Like if you don't know what they can do, you just go with pulled pork. Because most people don't completely mess that one up.
Well, it's hard because you can just smother it in sauce and you're done.
Well, right now, at least, if it's fatty enough and still not completely overcooked, it's usually decent. Whereas like brisket and ribs, like that's where it shows that they're good.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you can get brisket that's not dry as a horse's ass,
Exactly.
then that's good.
Right. And that at least in Colorado, like hardly anybody does brisket right.
Right. I'm not a big fan of brisket. I like it, but it's usually because I've had it and it's dry.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like,
a
good place for that. I feel like that shows their worth if they can nail that.
So I got a weird take on this because you know how I like to do. So what I'll do is so usually when I go to a place, I do like to try the ribs. Okay, that's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I like to see, because some people are like, oh, it just falls off the bone. And I'm like, that's actually overcooked. Falling off the bone is not right. It should still have some tension in there to enjoy the Neanderthal-age
the little
eating experience. But if it falls right off, because usually if you want to test a set of ribs to see if they're done, you kind of hold them up in the center, and they should bend. They shouldn't fall apart.
Right.
So that's proper.
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually, because my grandpa, even when he would make ribs, like if he would shake one of them, and like if the stuff fell off, he knew he overcooked it.
Yeah, and it should pull back from the bone. Should pull back from the top a little bit.
Yeah.
About an inch or so, depending on the rib. If you got a brontosaurus ribs, that might be different.
Yeah.
But usually I like to try the ribs and see, because then you're going to see see if it's done correctly. If they put it, if there's a rub on it, you can get the flavor of the rub.
That's what I was going to say, yeah, you get a good idea of what spices they like to use too, because every place seems to be pretty different. Right.
Now, the thing that I do different is usually I go to the ribs because I want to try that.
Right.
Or I'll go pulled pork if I don't want to be disappointed.
Well, that's the easy safe pick.
Right. Yeah. Safe pick is pulled pork, is whatever you could if they got good sauce, you can fix
Just
their,
lather it up
you
and
can
make
fix
it,
that up and make it good.
Yeah.
But what I really kind of judge, this is odd, is the sides.
Oh, that's a good point. An underlooked piece. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So
banana pudding of that's a particular
banana.
one.
See, for me, it could be like mac and cheese.
Yeah.
If you can make mac and cheese really well, that's a good one.
Fried
and you think
pickles.
it's easy. Most people think mac and cheese that's easy. You can slap it together. It's not.
No.
Being
Especially
from
if you use
Italian
real
heritage,
cheese. Yeah, good cheese.
we got some cheese that we like. So a fine cheese for mac and cheese is good. Also the beans. If the beans are done well,
Yes.
that's good. Collard greens are one of my absolute favorite. I will destroy a bowl of collard greens if you put them in front of me. But they got to be done right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they're not done right, then
They're
they're just salty, awful
Yeah.
things. So they got to have. So,
See, that's another one that I feel like it's not always the safest. Like sometimes, usually mac and cheese and beans are, even though not every place is great, those are still safe sides.
they are safe.
Like when you get into like collard greens or fried pickles or onion rings, like you just never know exactly what you're gonna get unless you've been there. But
Right, but I mean it's a good test.
Yeah.
Because if you get some junk ass
collard greens,
collard greens or some shitty ass mac and cheese,
that says a lot.
it says a lot. It says a lot to me because if the sides are solid, that means they took the time to give a shit about the sides as much as they did about the Q.
Right.
And that makes
The whole thing come together.
fantastic barbecue experience.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
As long as there's some blues playing on the
That's
radio
key.
too. I
Gotta
enjoy
set the
that.
right mood for consuming barbecue.
There used to be a place up here in Northside. It was really good. Same kind of thing, man. You walked in, it was,
Yeah, I actually remember by that bowling alley.
Brickyard or something like
Yeah.
that. But it was good, man. Those guys did some really good job.
Yeah, the
But
place
that's-
Mike goes is pretty good.
Oh yeah, Roaming Buffalo here in
Yeah.
Denver's really, really good.
Yeah, we actually have a severe lack of like good barbecue in Colorado. I don't know.
Raging Cajun, I think is the name up near my house. That's they do pretty good job, and their collard greens are killer. So you
Yeah.
get my vote. And the sauce though, I know we spent a lot of time on barbecue. I get it. Sauce is a big thing too. And I do like the companies that give you the range because I think now barbecue has become well known enough that you can justify having different stuff. You could have Memphis, Carolina, Kansas City.
Well, like the
different
mustard-based sauces and stuff too.
Yeah, because I prefer like a Kansas City style. I like something a little bit of
Little
punch,
like a sweet heat.
Yeah, I don't like the stuff that's super thin, but
Yeah,
that works for some things.
I do like the Carolina stuff, especially like any of the spicy mustard-based barbecue sauces. Those are good.
See, I've come to like a lot of different styles, but my main one I do like is Kansas City style.
I feel
not
like
KC Masterpiece because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But like Kansas City stuff, like Gates, Arthur Bryant, stuff like that. That's a little bit more into the.
Yeah.
Gates is one of my favorites. So, okay, all right. I think we spent enough time on barbecue. Maybe we should start a Flipside food channel.
Yeah, exactly. Where we.
How to make meatballs that don't suck with Ike.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Because people don't know how to make Italian food worth the shit.
That's true.
You ain't getting the shit.
Shit.
All right, so let's move on. Next one. Ben Coombs, our good friend from Canada. I was on a live stream with him last week, and I think we made it 4 seconds in before I laid an F-bomb down.
Sounds about right, yeah.
So that was kind of fun. Sorry about that, Ben. But it was a good live stream. It was a lot of fun. So he asks,
3 essential things to take to NAMM. I feel like top of the list is pants.
yes, you should always wear pants.
That's it.
Show.
Yeah, I feel like pants are necessary.
Top 3 things, I would say number 1 is comfortable shoes.
With pants above them.
With pants above them, yes. But comfortable shoes are important. I went one year thinking I was going to be Johnny Cool, and
Going boots or something.
then I was dying, because you're doing like 7-8 miles a day between walking from the hotel, if you're close enough to walk from the hotel, to the show, then walking around the show. Now they have consolidated the show. Like last year, all the guitar stuff that I really cared about was kind of more in one central area, but then I also had to go see Roland, and they were all way off in some other place.
Yeah.
So comfortable shoes is very, very important.
Okay. I was just saying, I actually need to know this since I haven't been.
Yes, comfortable shoes.
Excuse me.
Make sure you give yourself a little bit of spending dough for food, because afterwards, if you want to go someplace or even go into a show, also bring your earplugs. So if you're very sensitive to just a lot of sound all the time, earplugs don't hurt. And the thing is, if you go to a show afterwards, it might not be bad. One year I went and saw Black Label Society, and
yeah, they can be pretty loud.
Good thing I was half loaded, so it didn't hurt as much at the time. But the next day I was like,
yeah, and honestly, like the attenuating earplugs, like the ones people typically use for band practice stuff, that still lets the mid-range through, but cuts the damaging stuff off. Those will shave.
In, by the way, I just ordered some of those yesterday.
Okay, yeah, because those I feel like would shave off that chaotic kind of
the stuff that hurts.
Yeah, the chorus of noise.
And then the third thing is shoes is the big one.
Shoes, spending money, and earplug. That's 3. Now 4 with pants.
True. Pants is good.
Yeah, we gave an extra one for extra credit.
Yeah, you know, emergency contact information is always good, just in case. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You never know. Depends on how wild you get, man.
Yeah.
You know.
It's California. You never know.
I mean, it's not. You're surrounded by a bunch of. There's like 100,000 musicians. Anything can happen.
That's true. Yeah.
Anything. So it could be madness, which is great. But I would say those are my picks.
Right.
They might be different for other people, but comfortable shoes is the number one. You could leave almost everything else at home.
Except pants.
Yeah. Right. Okay, moving on. Guitar Hack says, great show, guys. Thank you. Got a question. Would you suggest swapping pickups on a P90 Les Paul to keep the noise down? If so, what P90's would you recommend?
Now I'm not that well versed with. I mean, I know Gibson's more or less made the same P90 for forever.
I would say yeah.
So I mean, if you're getting away from that, I can't really say. I mean, those are the ones I'm familiar with most, anyway.
Right. So I got a couple suggestions. My suggestion would be try to do the best you can to insulate that cavity.
Yeah, reduce the noise floor.
Reduce the noise as much as you can first, if you like the sound of those pickups. Because once you start going into noise canceling P90s, you may start to lose a little bit of that bite that makes the P90.
Right. Same with the noise suppressor, same thing. Like as soon as you start to get that cranked up enough to shave off the. Are we open yet? I think so.
Anyway. We're good.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
Anyway, no. Usually you would end up by the time you got a noise suppressor high enough to shave that off, it's going to be gating your tone a little bit anyway. So.
Right.
I mean, the more I've played and the more I've used stuff here, the more I feel like it's better than not. Use noise suppressors if you can. I mean, some metal guys just have to, but.
Yeah, because otherwise, when you have so much gain, it's gonna.
Right.
It's just gonna be.
And that's the other part of it. You know, address if you got like a gainy pedal somewhere in the, the setup, that could be emphasizing it more than some other pedals might.
Right.
Because I mean, we've definitely had that where like you hear nothing but 60-cycle hum out of some drives, and then other ones, it kind of almost tames part of that.
Right. And some of it could be the lighting in the room you're looking at. That you're playing in. I mean, if you're having an issue in like a back room of your house, that. Fluorescent lights, you could have there could be an issue there, because I got a P90, the Sensei Junior that I have, and I can't play it in my music room in my house because the wiring sucks.
Yeah.
Because it just buzzes like crazy. But if I go in the living room,
it's okay.
It's okay because apparently there's better wiring. But a good suggestion, if you did want to change out those pickups, I've heard really good things about the Lindy Fralin P90s. They're pretty quiet and they sound really good. So that would be the one. That'd be the one thing I would look.
Well, that way too, you're getting one with good tone, especially with the Fralin stuff.
The Fralin pickup, the Fralin P90s. And we've had a couple guitars that have come through with those, and holy crap, those things are.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
They're pretty top notch. I mean, I love the tone.
There was still some hum, but not. I can't say
Yeah, and once
it wasn't unplayable. Yeah.
Right. And once you get after it, I think you're all right. You just gotta use your volume knob a little bit in between songs.
Just gotta use your knob.
You just gotta twist that knob a little bit, man. Yeah. That's all. All right, moving on because I think we're getting some customers loading up. We're getting close.
Being a dealer, this is from Mike Rohde. Being a dealer, what is your take on the abundance of effects pedals on the market? Is it oversaturation, or is there a real reason for all the varying brands and styles, other than monetary enrichment? I think we've kind of fielded this one before. I mean, I think like your cooking examples I think is a good one here. Like everybody has their own take on, everything in turn. Like everybody has their own take on scrambled eggs or whatever it is, or sauces.
It's like restaurants.
Yeah, so it's like everybody's gonna spice it a little different.
Right. I mean, you have a ton of different restaurants in every city, all over the place, all the time, and everybody's got, like you said, everybody's got their little bit of a take on it.
Right.
I don't think it's strictly monetarily driven. But
No,
I'm sure
some
that
of
there
them,
are people
yeah.
that are. I think there are people that are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most
Yeah.
of the, like, a lot of these companies, like Wampler, JHS, Keeley, a lot of those companies started just modding other old pedals and eventually moved on to making their own versions of them. And, like, that I feel like is a pretty natural progression.
Yeah, I mean, these are people that had a hobby, and that hobby started to catch on. And I mean, we got a couple local guys that we carry their pedals, and other local guys like their pedals. So, if that grows and grows and grows, that could turn into a business.
And a cool local scene.
And I'm so sure that any dude that's at home modding his pedals or creating their own pedals would much rather sit at home and create pedals and solder and build that stuff than go to some shitty job that they feel is sucking their soul out of their life. So, in the long run, people are trying to make some money out of it, but I don't think that's always the sole purpose for that. I think it starts out as a hobby, and then if they can make some money, and that becomes like a little bit of a side hustle.
Right.
That's cool. But if that side hustle becomes their main gig,
right,
I think that's cool. So,
well, and honestly, too, pedals in the world of guitar stuff, that's the easiest part of the gear to get into, where you can have a collection of them. And so I think a lot of people that end up with collections of them, if they get far enough to where they're modding them and working on them, then they make their own. Like, I think they just have more and more fun with how that ends up kind of playing out.
Because it's endless. You add a little of this, you add a little of that, you put a little bit more resistance there, a little less over here, a little bit more power. Same thing you would do in, let's say, barbecue sauce, like we were talking about earlier. You add a little bit more like brown sugar, you add a little bit more, tomatoes, you add a little bit more, I don't know if anybody's putting cumin in tomatoes.
I don't know, I just throwing that out there. I don't know.
This guy.
I bet you somebody out there somewhere throws like a little bit.
Possibly, I don't know, we'll have to ask do you guys put cumin in barbecue sauce?
But there's like...
Do I have to actually ask that?
Yeah, but what's like Middle Eastern barbecue or something? That would have some cumin in it. I bet they have some form of barbecue. I'm not well versed.
Ain't nobody eating Middle Eastern barbecue like barbecue. We're talking American barbecue.
I know, but like, it could exist.
It could exist. I don't know. There's probably is.
Like, there's probably Chinese barbecue and Australian barbecue.
That barbecue isn't like barbecue we're talking about. That's a different kind of. That's a.
You gotta open your barbecue mind.
But then that involves grilling, and we're going see.
We don't need much
like
much to spur that.
Right, we're not doing that.
All right.
All right. So I would say that it's a hobby that grows into a business, and that's pretty cool. We got one more question. What time is it?
12.
All right. One more question.
This one was really commentary from Mr. Driddle.
All right, Mr. Driddle says, I don't find much of the big names to be boutique. This includes Keeley, Matthews, EQD, Wampler, and all that. Once the brand's mainstream, it's no longer boutique. I kind of agree and kind of don't agree. I still go back to what I said. I think it's about the flexibility
and availability, because like it's hard to find a good selection of a lot of this stuff anywhere.
Right, and I do believe like Stomp Underfoot is still boutique because he's a small guy doing stuff
hand by hand.
Hand by hand.
All
right. One last thing before we go. We finally got some new shirts going, and these will be up on the website as this thing airs to the general populace. But here's our new shirt.
Once we broadcast it on the antennas.
Flipside University.
It's a sweet one.
And we got our call letters, and it says, what does it say? Teaching the spirit of rock and roll since 2014. So if you want an FU shirt
or koozie,
thought
you're boozy.
There should be a link. I'll put a link down below. You can grab those. There also may be a code for free shipping, because we have like a tier thing that works on our website that you got to get to a certain point before we ship for free. These don't quite hit that, but I want to give you an option for so if you just want to buy one of these things, we could ship it out for free. Actually, we might even just pair these up. For one price, and that way you get both, and then we'll probably throw stickers and stuff in there too, because that's how we roll. So check these out, and you'll be seeing them, and all the cool kids will be wearing it at NAMM. So you could be at home wearing one while you're watching the cool kids at NAMM.
Yeah, get educated. at Flipside University.
Get yourself educated over at FU.
Get yourself an education.
All right. I think that's it. We got people lining up here at the door.
Literally knocking the doors down.
Catch you guys on the flip side.